let's look at something that's a little closer, though, also, Brett. I want to jump into the UFC fights that are going on Saturday. I know that I'm the one that constantly brings these up. They don't always stay on your radar, but this is actually a good card coming up on Saturday, Brett. It's also a UFC Fight Night. It's not a pay-per-view. It's just on ESPN Plus, but it's got a really good main card, in my opinion, that has two really good women's fights and not the title fight, but it's a card fight. So it's going to be 5 rounds between TJ Dillashaw and Corey Sandhagen. And that's going to be TJ Dillashaw's return to the UFC after being caught and serving a 2-year suspension for a banned substance. And I think he's deservedly catching a lot of hate for it. But because of that, there's also a lot of really good value. I think plus 160 for Dillashaw is a little disrespectful. We just saw last week Miesha Tate. She came back into the ring after 5 years of not fighting. She did just fine. She actually got a finish and came back in spectacular fashion. TJ Dillashaw's 35, 2 years off. I think he's going to come back fresh, come back renewed. From everything I've been seeing in terms of how he's been handling the press too, he seems pretty angry and seems pretty ready to jump right back in it and wants to get to a title fight. So I'm taking the plus 160 there.
All right. Well, tell me about these next fights, Higgins.
Okay, these are the 2 women's fights I was telling you about. Both of them are going to be fantastic. It's Macy Chiasson versus Aspen Ladd and Miranda Maverick versus Macy Barber. And I'll be honest, I'm taking both Macy's. I'm actually doing a theme here. I'm taking all the underdogs in all of my UFC picks here. Let's start with the last one I mentioned, Macy Barber and Miranda Maverick. Macy Barber has just 2 losses. Both of these girls just have 2 losses on their career. But Miranda Maverick only has 2 fights in the UFC. So Macy Barber is much more established in the UFC, has much more understanding of the UFC, and in my opinion, has more respect in terms of the fights. She may be the underdog here, but it's only slated at plus 120. I'm taking her. And then you got Aspen Ladd versus Macy Chiasson, and they're 8-1 versus 9-1. They each only have 1 loss. Now, Macy Chiasson's loss was a unanimous decision back in 2019. Aspen Ladd's loss, if I remember correctly, let me pull it up here real quick. Aspen Ladd's loss was a knockout back in 2019, and she did get a win after that. So she did get a knockout of her own coming out of the knockout, but she hasn't fought again since 2019. It's been 2 years now. Macy Chiasson, she lost in 2019, then fought in 2020 and won, fought in 2021 and won already. So she's coming back a little bit more fresh, fought back in March. I like Macy Chiasson, who's never actually been finished in this scenario, so I'm taking her at plus 165.
All right, makes sense. All the underdogs for Higgins on Saturday night.